You may have noticed that some creative pedestrian aids have popped up in Granite Falls.
Ashley Wubbin here from SHIP.
Ashley Wubbin from Countryside Public Health proposed a crosswalk repainting at a Granite Falls City Council meeting as an experiment in public safety. She was asked to do more research on the project and then met with Danny Prados, Granite Falls' first city artist in residence.
So we had an amazing meeting after that. And one of the things that seems to be a byproduct of working with me on stuff is they get bigger and more complicated and hopefully involves a lot more of the community.
So the proposed 1, maybe 2 crosswalks turned into 18, turned into 20, and an open call for artists to paint the crosswalks went out.
Their applications were considered based on the strength of their design and their relationship to the area. The theme of the crosswalks was all going to be storytelling.
So this project was called Circles of Life. Life has this whimsy of circular things happening, and some are really vibrant and some are kind of dark, and all the colors seem to blur together to make something beautiful in the end. So that's what we did here. We tried to capture the whimsy of life by taking all these bright, colorful, happy spirals and then some spirals that have more somber tones in them and working them all together into a crosswalk.
And yep, they did too. Their next crosswalk, located down Prentice Street on 6th Avenue, is a nod to Granite Falls' cooperative legacy.
This is home of the Cooperative Act by Andrew Volstead in 1922.
Gorman and Price said the clasping hands represent a collaborative spirit they witness in Granite Falls. And turns out,
what we discovered is we had very different visions of hands, and then Adam came up with a way to make them very easily unified.
You know, you start off with yellow and you go to orange and then red and then purple and then blue.
Follow the progression of the rainbow or the sunset.
We also came to the conclusion that instead of just the crosswalks downtown, we should really try to include the crosswalks around the schools because there's a lot of traffic issues over there, and public safety is really important, student safety, especially with all of the foot traffic and coming and going to school. And we thought it would be a really great way to create more relationships between the youth and those who are of a more professional ilk in the arts.
Other crosswalk designs feature floral themes and various types of aquatic life. There's a powerful piece calling attention to missing and murdered Indigenous women. And Autumn Cavender Wilson's painting fills the entire intersection of Prentice Street and 7th Avenue. Cavender Wilson, who is a traditionally trained Dakota artist, said that she purposefully included historical elements in her design, but also elements that represent Dakota people's continued and future existence in this area.
What I think is important is, with this square here as well, is highlighting continued Indigenous presence in the area, continued Dakota presence in the area, and also to draw attention to the very, very real social and economic contributions that our people have been making to small town life here in Granite Falls. Many of the businesses that have opened up downtown recently are at least partially Native owned or owned by folks of color, and I think it's really important to highlight for the future that the future of rural places is young, it's brown, it's Native, and that's an important thing to kind of bring to the forefront.
Another important piece for Cavender Wilson is Dakota presence. The importance of Dakota art, Dakota history, and Dakota people taking up space in places that historically have left Dakota people out. Cavender Wilson talked about this during the Upper Sioux community's Granite Falls Art Walk, a walk to honor the artists of this project, and the first ever Upper Sioux hosted event in Granite Falls.
While we're here, one of the things that I've wanted to emphasize repeatedly over the course of the entire day is the ways in which Upper Sioux has repeatedly made space for itself within the town of Granite Falls and the surrounding area, whether or not we were wanted, whether or not we ever got to be here, whether or not we were ever invited, right? We have been here for 26,000 years. We will be here for 26,000 more. Right?
Yeah! Gosh,
our homeland, and it represents where we come from. Because here, at the very heart of this town, it's still our space.
A press release circulated by the Upper Sioux during the art walk recognized the historical tension between the tribal nation and the city of Granite Falls because of injustices perpetrated against Dakota people in their ancestral homeland. It also said, as we honor the collective artists of this project and highlight the economic impact of USC members who have created businesses in the town, we strive to form a new path forward, one of collaboration, recognition of sovereignty, and mutual respect.
And so this exists actually for every single one of you. This design out here is a floral chronicling of the history between Dakota people and non-native people in this area. Down from the yellow medicine plant, all the way to the maple sugar camps that were held here, to the 2 children who were murdered by eating apples, right? All of those things are represented here in that square today, right? And so this is our space, always.
It's clear that this is much more than an art project. The crosswalks are meant to increase public safety, pedestrian visibility, commerce, and tourism, to beautify community gathering spaces and lift up local artists, and to urge people to consider the past, present, and future of the place.